Hi Leo, it's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology and welcome in. This video is going to be for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and this is about the Sagittarius Full Moon. And Sagittarius is another fire sign, so you'll want to hear about this video here and the reading that we have here today. We have you on the ascendant, Leo, so you can see around the chart a little bit easier. And here you are. And the full moon is May 31st. It's at 1:45 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So please check for your own time around the world. It will be different. And so the full moon will be at 9 degrees. So here is the full moon showing up as a big black dot, and that's okay. And so here we have it at 9 degrees, and it is in your fifth house. Your fifth house is very important to you because in the natural chart, you rule the fifth house. The fifth house is how you shine, your talents, what you're good at. It is about how you show yourself to the world. It is your self-expression and your self-identity. It is also about hobbies, and it is about creative self-expression. As I said, your talents. It's about children and love and sex and pleasure and all the kind of fun. That's the fun house, right? Where your talents and your hobbies are, your romantic engagements, right? And, children are fun as well, right? As long as they're well behaved, right? So here we have the full moon in that house. It's also here with Lilith. We see that. And Black Moon Lilith is the shadow aspect of our lives, right? Of our chart, really, right? It shows us, right? But um, it's in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is about philosophy. So, in order to thrive, and we also have the part of fortune here. I'll talk about that. But in order to really thrive, right, and live our best lives, we need to face our shadow. We sure do, right? And because we're in the dark, right, we need to face the shadow, confront it, and move away from it, or, just accept it, but do better now. And that's what Sagittarius wants us to grow and expand, right? Um, Now, it can be related to your philosophy, maybe the way you're kind of, I don't know, thinking about something. That could be it here. But there can be something in your fifth house of expression or your talents or something that maybe something's your shadow aspect is hindering something here. The shadow always hinders, right? Because we're in the dark. So, after we confront the shadow, we move into the light, which is awareness, emotional awareness, right? And spiritual awareness. So um we have that there. And so Sagittarius, Leo, Jupiter is the ruler and is ruling your eighth house of transformation. So the moon is often about transformation or endings and new beginnings, things that are culminating, and things that kind of put pressure on us because it can be a very emotional time with the full moon, right? The moon is emotional by nature. It rules the fourth house in the natural chart of emotional foundation and feelings, right? And our roots and things like that. So here we have Jupiter ruling your eighth house. And this is the house of intimate relationships and shared monies and assets and things like that. It's a hidden house, and it is also about romance, right? Romantic relationships, any type of relationships, especially where other people's money is involved. And this eighth house is what is hidden as well. It can be about, the occult, but it's a deep psychological house. And when we have Jupiter ruling that and in your fifth house, there's something deep that you're probably seeing maybe about yourself or about these fifth house matters that I was explaining, okay? Um, Maybe about how you shine, right? Leo loves to shine, right? It rules the sun. Um, yeah, and so that's why a lot of Leos are, given these God-given talents because it is the fifth house of talents, all right? But this can be about ego as well. So we don't want ego to kind of hinder our shining or our talents, right? Things like that, or how we express ourselves. So we have Jupiter as well ruling this, not ruling, but in your 12th house of ending. Something's ending for you, Leo, because this is the eighth house of transformation and life and death here. And I don't necessarily mean the death of a person. I don't necessarily mean that. I mean, although, if care, life is, Death is part of life, right? Now, Jupiter's here in your 12th house. It's very comfortable and happy to be in Cancer, but there's something here that, um, that you're like that you something that will grow and expand if you let something go. The house of endings and release. This is also a hidden house. There's something that you didn't see before, the Sagittarius full moon. It really does look like that. Now, we also have a trine to your ninth house. Excuse me, we have several trines, and it is to Saturn here, and also Athena Pallas and Vesta, and also Neptune here. Now, Neptune is important because it is the modern ruler of Pisces, and Jupiter is the traditional ruler. So, it's asking you. This moon is asking you to trust in your dreams. And the trine can sometimes also don't fall prey to fears and things like that. And those trines are going from the moon to your ninth house of growth and expansion. And that's what the full moon wants for us. It wants growth and expansion. It wants us to let things go uh, that block our growth. And it wants to bring us intuition. Excuse me, not intuition, but it wants us to, it wants to bring wisdom and clarity to us, right? And that wisdom can help us grow. Sometimes we gain wisdom, after we grow, but wisdom comes from our experiences. It does. So we have the trine there. Um, yes, we also have a Black Moon Lilith making that, and it is to Aries, the sign of the self, and also Saturn is there. So Saturn in your ninth house. Saturn can help you, whatever you're trying to do or expand here, Leo. Saturn can help you. Um, Put form to it, have discipline, and can help make you more resilient, right? And so that's especially in Aries. Wow. And I feel like Saturn is probably Saturn is in detriment in Aries. I think it is. Let's have a look at it here. Exalted in Libra, yeah, definitely in detriment. So Saturn there is not very comfortable, but the trine is making something flow for you. Um, Yeah, and when Saturn is not comfortable in Aries, it's because Aries wants to just do things, bam, with kind of no forethought. And Saturn is saying, no, we're going to plan, we're going to be patient and take our time so we can make this last for the long run. So yeah, and Black Moon Lilith is there. So this could be saying sometimes you're a little impulsive, slow down, right? It can be saying that to you. And the moon is also a trining, the moon is also trining Athena Pallas, which is, it wants you to see your emotional patterns so you can be more aware and grow from there. Because Athena Pallas, right here, it's an asteroid, but it is associated with wisdom and strategy. Only if we can see our emotional patterns, all right? And the moon has a lot to do with emotional patterns. It really does. Here we have Mercury, and that is the ruler of the sun, ruling your 11th house of future aspirations. Right on, right? The sun is there, shining on that. It's also about like-minded people, social groups and things like that, community, a larger community. This is the house of kind of independence, if you will, but about your future aspirations. Now, it also has to do with fame. So, this Lilith in your fifth house of talents, this can be, making that opposition there. It could be telling you, step into your talents and you can move and receive more gains, because that 11th house is about gains from the 10th house of career and status, or your role, whatever role you're playing or showing yourself to the world, like your reputation. All right. Mars is here in this house. Oh, and before we go, excuse me, Mercury ruling your second house of well-being. So whatever's going on in your house of future aspirations or these social groups here, definitely about that has to do with your thinking, because it's in Gemini. has to also do with your well-being. The moon is trying to bring you something better for your well-being here, the full moon. All right. It is also making a square to that second house of well-being. And it's also about financial stability or material comfort. And it is squaring the north, the south node there. Leave something behind. Leave something behind, Gemini, not Gemini, I'm sorry, Leo, so you can move forward, all right? That south node is associated with whatever limits us. And the full moon is whatever helps us grow and expand, all right? Um, yeah, and there is something very important for your well-being because part of fortune has to do with how you thrive, and it is in your second house of well-being. All right. Mercury is in its own 11th house here, not its own 11th, but it's in its own sign, Gemini. So there's a lot of intellectual support for you for your future, your future aspirations, right? The sun is there, your natal sun, and here's the sun, of course, opposing the moon. That always happens with a full moon. The sun is asking us to, see things clear and act kind of in the divine masculine way and blend it with the divine feminine over here. We always have to have both. One is your intuition and one is kind of how you live in this world, sort of, right? Um, but yeah, and so we have that. And we have Mars here. And Mars is in your 10th house of career, and Mars is ruling your ninth house of growth and expansion. I didn't mention this earlier, but that is very important because that's what Sagittarius is about. Although yours is ruled by Mars, Mars is in your 10th house of career and your social role, your achievement. And so we have this here, and Mars is also ruling your fourth house of emotional foundation. Mars is in detriment here in Taurus, so it's not comfortable, but um, we have this is that is this a incon it's a sorry, it is an inconjunct. So it's a quincunx. It's asking you to make an adjustment. It can be about your philosophy, about your own talents, or something about your self-expression. It may be about love and things like that. But this, I feel like this has to do with self-expression, because the full moon is making that quincunx here to Mars. And Mars wants to do something new, and there's an adjustment that has to be made, either with regard to your career or your talents or how you're seeing yourself, how you show yourself. There's something like that going on. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and lastly, we have Venus. Venus is in your 12th house of endings. I talked a little bit about it, but Venus is your self-worth. It can be about your money and your material comfort. It's about your relationships and how you create harmony. And here is Venus, and Venus is making, um, Venus is ruling your 10th house of career. So we see something going on here because remember, the moon is making the quincunx to Mars in that house. All right. Venus is making a square to, this Vesta, which is has to do with your harmony and your balance. It has to do with your own because it's in Aries. And it's a very personal sign about your growth and expansion, really in your ninth house. You may want to learn something new. You might, because we're dealing with this intellectual axis here with the full moon. But Athena Palace is, understand your emotional patterns, Leo. All right, so you can move forward. That's what it is. That's what the square is asking you to do. It's kind of, make an adjustment. Notice that about yourself, all right? And the full moon in your house of self-expression also wants you to kind of see that. See something about yourself and like how you shine, right? Um, yeah, it's very interesting there, all right, because you do shine. And Leos are natural leaders, right? It represents the sun, which is, the ruler of the world, really, right? But the sun or the universe, really the solar system, it is, and also how you shine and things like that, right? Your authority, it is connected to your authority and is making that quincunx to your house of personal agency over here, over your own life as well. This is your career and how you show yourself to the world, right? Just in a little bit different of context. So thank you so much, Leo, for joining me here. If you'd like your own personal reading, check out the description box, and my website is there. I have great readings, and they're all to help. they're just all to help. They're all to help transform and for you to see yourself in this very deep way. It can show you, your chart shows you things. It also helps you. It's a very cathartic, it's a release as well. It is the beautiful thing, right? If you're approaching it the right way, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and I will be back with my next video, especially if you have enjoyed my content. Hit that little like button. All right, thanks so much, you guys.